Hi guys, this is Goddess Starla Vamp, back for another segment of Ask a Dominatrix, where I answer your questions about kink, fetish, and BDSM. And today's first question, Evening Goddess Starla Vamp, what is your favorite sex toy to use on another and yourself? What is your favorite article of clothing to have others wear and for yourself? My favorite sex toy. You guys can probably guess what it is if you see my videos throughout the years. You can commonly find me sitting on a Hitachi wand plugged into the wall over and over and over again. Reliable, steady vibration coming through the wall. I was introduced to that toy on set. One of the first few shoots that we did, Beta, the cameraman, he ordered it, and that sneaky bugger, he introduced it to me for one of the scenes, and I'd never used it. I'd never felt something with such a powerful, vibrating impact like that. It kind of scared me a little bit. But it was an awakening, and I was so impressed. I was so impressed of this discovery, and that must have been my first orgasm on camera with it. That probably scared me too, because it would have been a really powerful orgasm. And throughout the years, I've definitely mastered how to have multiple orgasms with it. There's 2 settings on it. When I was a little bit younger, I could really go ahead with the higher speed, and now when I look back at that, I'm like, what the fuck? So I just go with the lower speed now. But you have to be careful with that thing, because you can get like a rubber burn. So yeah, don't overdo it. I've had other people tell me that they really like it on their balls, yeah, or like on their shaft or whatever. Men like it too. And what else was I gonna say about? Oh, you're gonna laugh. I hope you're gonna laugh. We were doing a shoot. I think it was me and Randy. No, or it was just me and Randy and another girl, or else it was a girl shoot. And I had my wand, I had it plugged in, and throughout the years the cord bent because I'd used it so much, so it created this fold on the end. So we plugged it in, and I was using it, and it sparked and blew up, and it was finished. It must have not been that close, or I was just about to use it because it didn't spark on me. Like I didn't get burned either, but it was like very exciting. So that was the demise of my beloved Hitachi wand, but thankfully there's a lot of them, and you can just order a new one. And my favorite sex toy, well, I'm just gonna go with the riding crop. Maybe it's a bit disappointment because it's not like because this is like a fetish toy, it's a sex toy, but yeah, I don't want to disappoint you like, oh, it's a 10-inch dildo or something like that, which I'm going off on a tangent, but I had that thing. I had a client especially want the 10-inch, and it's just this big, huge, massive thing. Because my dildos usually go to 8, like, but yeah, I went all the way downtown to get the 10-inch, and it was this magical thing. And this is a side note, but I'm going to tell you about this client that I have. He is so cute. He just wants to get smacked in the face with my strap on, with my dildo. So he wanted me to just whack him in the face with the 10-inch. And yeah, it was like this magical thing. Like, did you get it? Did you get the 10-inch? Are we gonna do it? Are we gonna do it? Are you gonna smack me in the face with the and I'm not even bullshitting you. I love this guy. But yeah, and he'd always say, like, don't hit me too hard, like, don't bruise my face, like, I gotta go out and stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm trying my best. You want to get hit in the face with the 10-inch, but you don't want bruises, or, like, I'm not gonna give you a black eye, like, so, you know, it was, you gotta skate the edge with things like that. So, anyway, it's not my favorite thing, because I don't use, like, the 10-inch on a lot of people, or smack other people in the face with the 10-inch, but so that's a nice little on the list of favorite sex toys, is going all the way downtown to get it. Did you find it? Did you find one that big? Did you get it? Did you get it? But I like the riding crop, because when I hold it, I feel authoritative. I feel like threatening. It's an unpredictable thing. Like, when will I strike? And it's just like, when am I going to strike? Where am I going to strike? How hard? So throughout a session, I like to just hold it in a suspenseful way. But a lot of times it's for theatrics, or to just keep the power dynamic. But a close second favorite is my flogger. Like, and you guys probably recognize this from my videos, and this is like near and dear to me. I take this, I can't believe I haven't lost it over the years. Like, it's been so many different places, but just the weight of it, it's really easy to, you know, I can put it in my purse to carry it around. This has been with me a lot of places. And as far as favorite articles of clothing, I like PVC. I'm a PVC woman. And after that, I'm gonna go with like a nylon or body stocking. They're breathable, they're flexible. They're really good for doing sessions in the summer, because they're so breathable. And if you want to put it in the same family, like a garter belt with the stockings, and then leather. And further down the line is latex. It's been a really long time since I've worn latex, but it's something to do, and it looks good. I'm more about like the feeling and sensuality of pantyhose. Like, this is one of the good things in life, is to put on some stockings or pantyhose and getting a leg rub and a foot rub and hitting the mark, doing that with somebody who's really into it. So that's a really good match when I can find that. And clothing on other people, well, I've had people that have worn pantyhose for me, and that's just kind of fun. Like, it's this really sensual thing. I'm big into pantyhose, and I like them ripped. I like them any color. Like, I like nude, because it's kind of a weird thing. It's such a secretary kind of look, but I really like it because it's classic, and they're just so smooth and soft. Oh, very sensual, very sensual. And other than that, I'm gonna go with French maid outfit, because it's classic, and I mean, it makes your day better to see all that frill going on. that frill and lace, and it's the showmanship of it. So these are some of my favorite things. So I have a question here. How long have you ever kept a man in chastity? I think this side of femdom is really interesting. Beta's been in chastity for like, I think over a month. Like, he really got into it. I wasn't directly involved with this. This was something he told me about from a distance. I didn't put him in chastity. He put himself in chastity. He had the key, but this was like an experiment that I got word of, and I got a lot of my information from Beta about chastity. And altogether, I probably only had someone in chastity for maybe like 5 hours or something. So not even that long. I probably had someone in chastity for about typically it's like half an hour to about 3 hours. Typically, people tell me a lot about sleeping in it. They'll do a few days in it, but it's motivation for them to tell me about it. But directly, I don't hold the key. Like, it's important to be able to concentrate so you don't put yourself into a difficult situation, and you don't want to like operate heavy machinery or something where you need to concentrate in chastity. So what might seem like a fun idea, but you got to let yourself out if you have something important to do. So that the reality of all that's really important. But I have so many people that come to me, they want to be in chastity and they love it for about half an hour. Really. It's a good half an hour, or it's a good few hours, 3-4 hours, but then it's like, okay, I'm done. And the only thing that I can really relate is I used to put clothespins on my lips or like on my clit, on my hood, and walk around, go do errands. Like I had someone who I had a master like ordering me to do that, and it was a task. So I would do stuff like that, and it's fun. It's fun. It's definitely fun for half an hour. After an hour, it's like, my brain, need to be free. And then when you take off the clothespins, it's like, such a good feeling. But pain in small doses to keep things spicy and interesting, but it just doesn't need to be overdone. And it's a fun thing. It's a fun, fleeting thing. Keeps things interesting. But really, weeks, a month, you hear stories about the month in chastity. You hear about it. We don't, it's kind of a myth. It's like you don't know what's going on. You don't know if he's wearing it under his pants. Like you don't know the truth, but it's the legend of it, which is the appeal. But would I have a problem encouraging someone to be in chastity for a month? It's like, hey, it's your life. You know your routine, you know your life. If you have a low risk job where you sit behind a desk and and you can concentrate, you can maintain a job locked up, it's like, by all means, you want to make sure that you have a balance and that you can keep your routines, that you can sustain yourself. So if you can do those things, by all means, like, everybody's different. Stay locked up for a month. Do I want to know every single little detail? No, because I'm gonna live my life. I need my brain power for me, not for every second that you're locked in chastity. Like, I value my mind and I want it. So yeah, it's something that you can only, as a mistress, I can only concern myself so much. He's the submissive, he's the one putting himself in chastity. I'm giving him that responsibility. I'm not going to be all weird about it and keep the key and dictate all these things. Like, and I think that's where it can get, like, really sketchy. I'm not into being sketchy. It's just like, it should be a fun thing in small doses, and like, I have a history of playing with pain. I understand the appeal. But I want to be in pain when I'm in a good mood. So things are different day to day. So maybe you wake up in chastity with a heart on. Maybe you wake up and it is not your day. You woke up on the wrong side of the bed. It just hurts and you got so much you got to do that day. It's like, keep the key yourself. Just like, check out. It's like, whatever. You don't get a trophy at the end of it for being in chastity for a month straight. You're the one that cares the most. They're fun stories that we tell each other, but you don't get a trophy, and I don't get a trophy for locking someone up for a month. So thanks, real life. When did you realize you were a dominatrix? I really like how this question is put, because it seems like it should be this awakening or like an epiphany or something. And my journey with this, it was definitely fake it till you make it kind of thing. And truth be told, like, I would probably be described as the shy, artistic person that, someone knew. Her? She does that? What? You gotta be kidding me. She's so quiet. She's so shy. Are you kidding me? Really? She does. There's the video. She does that. Jeez. You never know, huh? You never know. So I'm like totally the quiet, shy, artistic one. And it was something that it was copied behavior, definitely. And I talk about in my other videos when I discovered my first dungeon, and I really, like, I walked into that world, and I guess it was like a community. I discovered the players in that, and I copied everything, and I felt like a tourist, but I really wanted to be part of that world, so I just kept my mouth shut and pretended like I knew what's going on when I really didn't. But and then it took a few years for me to feel like I can command a session, because it just took the first few times of well, that guy did ask for foot fetish. He really did. And it's like this other legend that you hear about, oh, the foot fetish. And then you find the guy and you're like, it's true. It's true. All the stories are true. And then when you start to realize all this, and it just becomes memory, like, well, that guy asked for foot fetish. There's going to be another guy and another guy. Oh, and strap on, I heard about. And then once you realize all these little things and you store it in your memory, then you feel like you have a history and you just feel more experienced. And I'm trying to think of when I really felt like, oh, I'm not playing that I'm a dominatrix. I actually feel like a dominatrix. And it was probably through, you know what? It was probably through duo sessions, seeing my girlfriend's command, and then I copied. And I think it was really realizing that power dynamic of when you have two women on one man, like, you can really intimidate him because you're tag teaming. And Ori, man, I had a few sessions where it was 3 women and 1 sub, and it got heated. And you know, the guy you know, definitely was put in his place. So I think it was after experiencing those sessions firsthand that it felt like there really was that kind of social component to it, and it's like something that I could apply in society. But I didn't realize I was a dominatrix. It was always like I was running to catch up with everybody, and then eventually it just became easier and easier. And when I started doing that, it was the legend of the real dominatrix, and everyone was really at each other like, oh, she's not real. She's not a real dominatrix. And this word of real, we were chasing this authentic knowingness. And I think, you know, because this was before a lot of social media platforms and stuff, and we were really competitive to find these stories and find these fetishes and deliver. And it wasn't the same blown wide open source of information with fetishes, and it wasn't the same studying back and forth. So it was just like definitely something that we had to explore. But I just really started to feel it after I was part of a group. And I think altogether for women working, having that social component is really important, because doing this kind of thing can be really isolating. And this is going to sound cheesy, but you can really find a camaraderie with other women, and a certain just a certain energy. Okay, another has written, hello, I'm really enjoying your YouTube channel. The question I would like to ask, have you and any of your subs ever partaken in public humiliation? And if so, what did you do? Thanks. So on the website there is one scene where I take Randy on a dog leash throughout a park, and this was the first year that we were shooting for the site, and we just jumped in to all this, and we got a lot of looks, we got a lot of stares, but we were with our cameraman, Beta, and he said there were a lot of people looking at us longingly. Which is really cute. Like, oh, I wish I had that kind of connection with someone where I could drag them around town in a leash. And then I think we, part of that shoot, I did some flashing, like just my top or whatever. Would I do that again? No. Yeah, I well, I wouldn't do the flashing. I have I recoiled in my age? Maybe. I don't know. But I think just dressing up and going out, and like I know a lot of people, they'll dress all up in latex and go out for events and stuff like that, and I'll take pictures. I think that's really cool. It's it's like this transformation and like spectacle of fashion. But I think with stuff like that, and you hear a lot about, couples will go to a restaurant and they'll have this sort of like role play thing going on. And I really like when people are just calling out the waiter isn't consenting to be part of your sex games. So it's like, I like public humiliation. If it's in the name of, it's not really humiliation though. I like doing things in public as just something exciting, and usually it's like wearing something fetish fashionable out in public, but just covering everything, but it's just that kind of punk rock edge, which I think is really cool. But like people have called out recently, it's like, yeah, you want to make sure your public play is ethical, and you don't want to just involve people with your shenanigans and stuff, to a point. But I think it's sexier when it's at a party, everyone knows what they're signing up for, and you can be at a club or a party, and you can do a lot with that. You can do a lot with those kind of interactions. So, private places where you just let loose. But as for the whole public of the world, it's like, man, it's too weird out there anyway. Like, okay, someone has written, I'm turned on by dick, but not men. What do you think is the psychology behind this? So, I know a lot of straight guys who they're not into men, but they like strap on. Um, do we want to say the dick is a tool? Like a dildo is a tool, and dick, or even if it's your hand, anything to penetrate with, it like becomes like a tool, and it's a tool for pleasure. So I think it makes sense. A lot of straight men, they like a woman with a strap on, and they like the results. I really like this question. Do you think fetishes are the result of nature or nurture? And I think it's both, but I'm gonna say more so nature, because a real fetish, it just ignites, and it's something through experience, like it just, that's how you've processed the world, and it just, it gets just stored in the memory bank. And we don't choose these things. We don't, it just happens. These experiences just happen. Um, love it or hate it. And the way that this stuff comes back, it's just like it gets triggered. And nobody's nourishing this. It's not nurture. It's just the world and how it's been processed. It's definitely something that is nurtured later. Like, and you can choose, and you can choose to open the Pandora's box and, door number 1 or 2 or 3. But these are things that are of free will and choice and out of curiosity. But I think initially fetishes, they start by nature. And it's just the way it turns out. Like, I know for myself, I just knew, well, I like the black shiny clothing, and I like black velvet and lace, and okay, like evil ladies, like in the movies. I know I like that. I always like the witch in the story. She's hot. I don't know why. And then you kind of realize, okay, you like the eroticism of everything. And then for me, myself, I realized, oh, like, that's so much more arousing than vanilla stuff. Oh, can I choose? No. I can't choose. Vanilla, like, vanilla. Coming from a perspective of someone who is so not vanilla, like I have this sense of what vanilla is and what vanilla people do, but I didn't turn out that way. I didn't choose. I wasn't like, oh, I feel like making my life more difficult, or like being misunderstood or frowned upon or judged. Like, I didn't just, it just happened. It just happened. Like, basic shit just doesn't appeal to me. I'm not a person who knows how to make small talk. Like, whatever nature is, nature did that. I turned out that way. Like, if you could do away with your fetishes and be a person made totally happy by the vanilla experience, would you? I can't begin to think of what past experiences could have led to my fetishes: cross-dressing, humiliation, degradation, heels, latex, but I'm quite sure it wasn't anything I chose. If I could change all of mine, I would in a second. It's been a burden having these urges, which are taboo and make me so different from my friends and family. And this is something that's come up with other people before, where they've said the same thing. Like, I wish this would go away. I wish I wasn't like this. It makes things so hard, and they just feel outcasted. But personally, me, would I change it? No, because I don't know anything else. Like, and I turned out the way I did. And in really thinking about this question, and I had a conversation with somebody lately where I'll admit, I think sometimes I might be better received because I'm a woman. Like, I can do really nasty, controversial, dirty things, but I'm a woman doing it, and sometimes I get away with things, or I can take it further, or um and that's I don't like saying that. And that's a double-edged sword too, though, because I really don't I have a lack of protection in society. Um so along with being able to get away with things because I'm a woman, it also makes me vulnerable at the same time and fearful. Um but would I change that? I would have to rewrite my whole life, and it just like I wouldn't be me. And I like my mind. I'm I think that I'm a thinker. So um I like to sit in silence and think and ponder. This. I wonder this happened. It's because of that. So, and that's just the way I've always been. So I would cease to be myself. But I can really sympathize how like a man cross-dressing and having fetishes, how you're not how unaccepted that could be, and how you're not quote unquote hitting the mark with macho-ness and these stereotypes of what men should be. And then as much as I'm judged, like I'm also encouraged at the same time. It just depends on the different social lanes, I guess. Like conventional society, like like I don't do well there, but amongst other people enthusiastic about fetishes and stuff, like that's where I've been existing, and I've been encouraged a lot. So with that said, it's not that it hasn't been a struggle though, and had its own torment. But personally, I'm not going to rewrite my life. What is your favorite way you've actually humiliated a sissy? I think like a forced buy thing is really fun. It's not really humiliation, like it's consensual humiliation, but I went through a phase where I was like I thought forced buy was really cool. I still think it's cool, but I toned down a little bit more. Maybe there's less get-togethers because of the pandemic or whatever, but yeah, that it just used to be fun because it was just I love group stuff. I love like threesomes, foursomes, like when you can do stuff like that. I love parties, I'm not like a swinger, but I like fetish parties where there's like action going on, spanking, worshiping. What's your favorite idea to humiliate a sissy that you haven't ever done but have thought about? I've kind of fulfilled like a lot of sissy ideas. I think maybe this is a cheap answer, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I think to do it now again, because a lot of stuff that I've done, I don't want to say it was easier to do because there was just less exposure with the internet, but you got a sense for like the exposure, but it was more of like a big question mark. Like, where are these videos gonna go? Like, what is the internet? Like, what's gonna happen? And so the humiliation and, you know, exposure of this stuff, it was still like a big question mark. But I think to like actually go and repeat a lot of the stuff that I've done, knowing what the internet is, knowing the exposure and the beast of what the internet is becoming, I think that is a challenge, because the internet itself is terrifying, and our videos, just all the videos, porn aside, fetish aside, just existing in a camera, it's terrifying. What I'm doing now, it's pretty terrifying. Like, you just don't always want a camera in your face, and you want to exist in your skin and not have this phantom version of yourself floating along behind you like a shadow. Like, it's fucking, it's creepy. But lo and behold, here we are, and we designed, well, I'm not taking credit for like this technology or whatever. I'm just here pressing record, but like we're creating this, we're designing this, we're consenting to making all this, and we don't know where that's going to go. But I think now with like this the reality and fear that I have embedded in me from making your own technology and or making your own media with the technology that we have, it's scary. But to find the courage to repeat even the stuff that I've done now, it's just a different kind of humiliation, consensual humiliation. And it's also more of a general understanding of how big and huge and broad the world is, and how big the world is over time, because it just feels like it's this thing that just keeps expanding and expanding. And when you make media, it just grows and grows and grows and becomes like a bigger beast. And there's more opportunity for humiliation in that. But it's like, even so, that's an idea where I'm like, do I have the gusto and the courage and the balls to take a grown man, put him on a dog leash in a French maid outfit and do a little walk in the park? Do I have the courage to do that now? So it's like, it's redefining all this stuff in this new tech civilization that we got going on. So but as for humiliation and things like that, and like quote unquote these humiliation games, like you have to be careful, because it's supposed to be fun. Like, it's supposed to be lighthearted, but sometimes these things can take a tone that is really unexpected and just becomes mean. And it's like, we don't need to be assholes on the internet. There's already like so much of that. So it's like, you know, when someone consents to this stuff and they, you know, it's their dream to be in my videos, and to be humiliated and stuff, it's still, you have to be sympathetic with that in these humiliation games, because it's like, you don't want to use the other person and that desire as an exploited resource. So even though these people ask for humiliation, it's like you still need to be kind with your humiliation, if that makes sense. It's like it should still be like endearing, because the whole point of fetish is that we're supposed to take care of each other and understand each other because we're intelligent. That should be it. It shouldn't be about using other people as a means to an end, to just exploiting people, because that's shitty. You're gonna like, you turn left, you turn right, like you're gonna find that everywhere. So when I started, like, I thought, and it should be, I thought fetish is where ethics thrive, and it can be, but not always. Like, not always. And so it's important to this is such a rant, but it's important to be kind. Okay, someone writes, I went from being repulsed by male anatomy to being curious about it, but repulsed by anal penetration, to having experimented with everything you can think of, and most recently to being totally turned on by the penis, but not remotely attracted to men as a whole. In the meantime, I remain attracted to femininity, but find myself more or less indifferent to vagina. I found this far from uncommon in the cross-dresser community, especially the hyper-submissive sector of cross-dressers, which is where I am. What do you think is the psychology behind this orientation? I think sexuality is an evolution, and we have our own experiences, and that's what we know, is our memory and our own experiences. But then you stumble upon something else that exists, and you have an encounter or an experience with someone that totally changes everything, and changes your reality and the ways you think about things. And I think it's just going through different phases where, or you exhaust like certain ideas and then you go on to something else. And I think sometimes ideas just become ignited, and we don't really know where that comes from. It's like, why all of a sudden an urge for that? Or sometimes I'll be sitting around thinking, do I like men? Like, I'm not even thinking about it, or like looking for dick. Shouldn't I be looking for dick? I just don't feel like it. And then sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, wow, I like am just thinking about dick. I don't know why. It's like the weather, or maybe I like am hydrated or something. And then you just start thinking about it, but then it goes away, and it's like, oh, why was I thinking about dick so much for a while and then not? And then I personally, like, sometimes I'll be like, wow, women are so pretty. Women are so beautiful. And then I think about vagina, and it's like, I don't know where that came from. It's like, but it becomes ignited. Or I'll have a girl sex dream, and it's like, what? Why? What? Ooh, okay. I didn't know I needed that. Like, it just, things are phases, and I think, okay, I'm gonna say that I think with cross-dressing and the people that you know who do that and that you have asked, it's just your willingness to be open-minded and to just experiment with different things. I think that's really not uncommon about sexuality, is to do all the experimentation. But I'm going to go back to saying, like, sometimes you don't know why that day. Like, was it the weather? You wake up and you're really into girls that day. Like, it must be the beautiful sunshine out there where that's why you're thinking, like, I don't know. I think there's an underlaying attitude of open-mindedness and experimentation. And I think the experimentation just comes from wanting to learn. You want to know. You want to know what's going on. Like, you're curious. What is that? What? Why? How? So, and I think depending on who you're with, your environment, like these things just change, and you make different discoveries, and you discover new people, and they help form your new reality. All right, guys, I hope I helped. With answering those questions, and it's fun to talk about. It's fun to have these discussions about fetish and just unlock and discover things about the world, about each other. There's a lot of people, we all gotta share space and time together, so it's nicer if we come to a better understanding of each other.